Monday. And the new powerful Bitcoin and crypto weekly projections are in. And the leading information is quite telling if you have looked so far at what the new week is saying. But I won't even get into all the volatility reads for you right now, other than to say what you should be doing is looking at things like the AVR and the entropy and the variance, if you have access to those tools. If you don't, what are you waiting for? You can get free access to the basic version of the AVR, which is called the AVP, which works hand in hand with the ATPC. Those two indicators together give you the very probable direction of the asset. And you also can get the ALR, which is like a simplified version of the RO, so that you can see real divergences of the returns and the price. And you can get the AVQ also for free, which shows you great places to enter and exit, very directional, shows you when to enter, exit at extremes or at the mean, or rather at the MA of the AVQ, I should say. It's not a moving average based on price, just so we're clear. And you can get all that for free at the Alpha Trading Discord. Anyway, that is normally I put the link in the description, but it doesn't always happen immediately. So that's just, you go to alphatraడింghq.com/discord. Again, alphatraడింghq.com/discord. And there you go. You open up a ticket and you request the free access to the volatility starter pack. Let us know your trading view username and we'll hook you up with those indicators. All right. So on to the weekly projections again. The weekly projections, if you looked at Bitcoin at all or other cryptos, you'll have noticed that assets like Bitcoin that fell right back down through the power mean a few weeks back have yet to really recover and get back above it. And what is it that we say about returns? Positive returns beget positive returns until they don't, right? And the same is true the other side. Negative returns beget negative returns until they don't. And right now, the returns have been negative for some weeks. At the moment, they're still very much looking that way. Of course, that's a very high time frame. Nobody's scalping a weekly time frame. That's not a thing. You could be trading the weekly time frame. I don't. Way too high of a time frame for me. But in my opinion, if you're trading the weekly time frame, you're really investing, because you could be holding that thing for easily half a year, right? If you get in at the right entry and get out at the right exit. In crypto, it's quite common for weekly trades to last anywhere from 1 to 3 months, or even 6 months, or even a couple of years. Like, that's not at all unusual. At all. Right? Once you pass the 6-month mark, it's off to the races. It's either a year, 18 months, or 2 years, typically. At that point, you're definitely investing and not trading. Right? And frankly, even a month, you're not trading in an asset in a month. You're investing in it for a month. It's a short-term investment. But my point is, the information about the VEPs today for the new weekly projections of Bitcoin and Solana and ETH and Litecoin, a whole bunch of different assets. Right? First of all, there's a new weekly candle, and the general trajectory of those is not saying to the moon, Alice. And I know a lot of hopium sellers are trying to tell people, oh, we're going to the moon this week, we're going to the moon today, and Bitcoin market's about to explode. Yeah, great. The Bitcoin market may very well explode. Price may shoot up dramatically. Okay. Yeah, that could happen this week. But if you look at the high time frames, right, that's not yet happening. Are you going to notice changes on the lower time frames first? Of course you are. That's why I trade the lower time frames. Right? I'm just saying the bigger picture for Bitcoin is that it's still setting up for the move. Now, it could very well be that this is the week because the lower time frames will change what happens on the higher time frame. But be prepared for the fact that you could have a very powerful series of weeks, one after the other, denying people's expectations, leaving them feeling dry, right? And kind of ruining their Q3 and deep into Q4. That easily could happen. Now, people are going to say, well, what about the rate cut? The Federal Reserve interest rate cut that's expected this week. What about it? Like, these things are generally priced in. We know generally what the reactions will be, whether they cut them or not. We know what the narratives will be, whether they cut them or not. Okay? What we're looking at is the VEPs. Because the narratives, right, we know which, by the way, if they don't cut them and the markets go up anyway, you'll see a whole bunch of narratives saying, oh, yes, well, of course the prices went up because everybody was expecting that they would cut them, but then when they didn't, it had their adverse effect. Right? Or the same thing, if they cut them and the prices go down, people will say, oh, well, yes, prices went down because we were expecting a federal rate cut. And since everybody was expecting it, sellers thought, well, why not take advantage of this opportunity to sell when everybody else is feeling hopium, and then we can surprise them with big sells. Okay? And the reality is, neither of those things is true. Right? Or you can say, well, I can find anecdotes that fit the storyline. Yes, you can always find anecdotes that fit the storyline. That's not how traders trade. That is how narratives get filled and how ads get sold to fill up the content pipes called media, whether it's online or printed, on TV, or on the radio, on the cinema screen, doesn't matter, wherever it is, in magazines. Okay? The content pipes, the distribution pipes of content, have to be filled with advertising, interspersed with content, stories, whatever, articles, bits of information that appeal to the target demographic that content is appealing to. Right? So, whichever way the market goes, there is going to be a narrative to tell that story. Whatever words are spoken by the Fed, there's going to be a narrative to tell that story. It's all silly nonsense, and you should avoid it like the plague when it comes to your trading. Is it fun to read? Are there maybe some useful insights you can get about what a person says, let's say about monetary policy? Yeah, well, there used to be a lot more interesting things you could learn about that. But these days, monetary policy has become such a joke because of its condition that it doesn't really, you're rarely going to get great insights from anybody speaking from the Fed. They're kind of just saying the same old puppet show. And they've basically been doing it for at least 20 years, if not more. It really is like that. You know, there's a reason that Satoshi invented Bitcoin. That reason was the failure of the Fed and central banking systems. Right? That's the whole reason. Because people are trapped underneath a system that is designed to fail ultimately, but not in a good way. Like algorithms of cryptography are designed to fail ultimately, because cryptographic algorithms are designed to fail and be replaced by better ones that are harder to crack. Over time, they get harder and harder to crack, but they still remain relatively fragile in the sense that they can't always be broken. They're designed to be eventually. So don't get caught in the narratives that really have nothing to do with what's going on, right? With why assets are moving this way or that way. Because really, at the end of the day, those narratives are not going to help you trade better, like at all. And, you know, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Show me where a narrative is actually going to demonstrably make your trading improve. You know, I almost guarantee that you can't. The very simple reason. If you could improve your trading through narrative, given how much narrative you're surrounded by, and if everybody else could improve their trading through narrative, given how much narrative they're surrounded by, you'd be living in a world full of the richest people instead of a world where wealth is scarce. You know, financial wealth is scarce. We don't. We live in a world where am I, bro? Bro, I'm on Spaceship Earth, currently in the daylight. So anyway, don't get filled with narrative in your head, please. Please understand the narrative is just nonsense. Oh boy, what happened here, buddy? You okay, buddy? All right. Guys, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Happy trading. You okay, buddy? Did you